for joining me today. If you're returning, you may have already seen my previous vlog where I randomly decided one day, hey, I've been wanting to try sea moss gel. Let me research it a little bit. I finally determined I want to actually make my own. Now I need to find some good, raw, wild-crafted sea moss. Y'all, I get tongue-tied every time I say that, so I'm so glad it came out right this time, okay? Anyway, once I determined which one appeared to be a good brand and had good reviews, I went on a journey through the A to actually procure said raw, wild-crafted sea moss. In a journey it was, but we are here now and we are ready to make our first batch. Now if you are new and you weren't there on that journey, you need to join the family because you're going to see my progression, which will include this video, of course, of how to make sea moss gel, my next video of my first 5 to 10 days of experience with it and what I noticed, and also what the claims are about sea moss gel, and then my following video, which I'm thinking is going to be a long-term 30 days or 60 days later, right? But you ain't gonna see none of that if you don't slam that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And I don't know why they separate, because if you subscribe without the notification, YouTube just doesn't tell you. So what's the point of the subscription, YouTube? Why? Because I don't know. So do both and you'll get notified when those videos come, and I might have some other content that you might be interested in. But with no further ado, because I'm gonna keep this short, let's hop into it. Now the first thing I wanna do is bring you over to my counter and just show you all the things that we're gonna need to make our first batch of to make our first batch of sea moss gel. Let's come over here. Yeah, excuse me. These are all the items that you're going to need to make the sea moss gel. So of course we have the sea moss. Now this is the brand I ended up buying, Rickey Gold Sea Moss. I'll put the link below. He has raw, wild crafted from St. Lucia. This is the gold. He also has purple. He also has some other products on there you might be interested in. So I will put that link below. You're going to need water. Now you cannot, from what I'm reading, use tap water. Just don't even do it to yourself. Really, I don't know what'll happen, but don't use it. I've seen spring water, alkaline water, filtered water, and distilled. Okay, I'm going with the spring because I see more people use that. You will need a blender. I'm going to use my old trusty, dusty, handy dandy, mean but clean Ninja. You're going to need a strainer for the cleaning process. You're going to need a bowl for the soaking process, and it needs to be a glass bowl and it needs to be covered with an airtight cover. You can use a lid preferably, but you could also use a saran wrap if you're good at saran wrap, and I am not, so I will be using a lid. Storage containers for after you make your sea moss gel. It needs to be glass. They also need to have an airtight seal at the top. I'm using 2, hoping that's enough. That is optional. The lime juice it says cut down on the fishy flavor of the sea moss gel, but if you have a good sea moss gel, it shouldn't be too fishy anyway. It barely has any taste. It might even be tolerable. This is just the juicer for the lime. Here I have a scale. This is totally optional. However, I want to let y'all see how much it makes based on the weight of sea moss I'm using. So this is just more to help you guys and just to help me know how much I'm making. Now, did we go through everything? Did we go through everything? I believe we did. So now we're on to the next step. Okay, so for our first step in this process, you're going to need your bowl, your water, your scale, and of course your sea moss. So I'm going to attempt to measure out about 2 ounces of sea moss, and we're going to see what we make with that amount. So I have my scale. I'm going to turn my scale on. Sorry y'all, some of this stuff is already all over the place. I got my first little bunch out. Now as you can see, I hope you can see, it's a little dark, but the sea moss is stringy, it's tough, there's not any moisture. You have some crystallized salt on here from, it came from the ocean. But there's not a whole bunch of salt, and none of it looks like it's been pre-soaked, which is a good indicator that this is actually raw, wild-crafted sea moss. So let's see how much this is. What? Y'all, this is exactly 2.1 ounces. So I'm gonna roll with this. Now what we're gonna do is put this in a bowl. We don't need the scale anymore. Once you put the sea moss in a bowl, I'm gonna pull it apart just a little bit, have it settled down at the bottom. You're gonna put just enough water in it to cover it. And you're gonna let it soak for about 15 minutes. Now me personally, I'm gonna agitate it a little bit first, just a little bit. to get that process started, to get that cleaning process started. And so now we're gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes. Now this doesn't have to be sealed, but I do like to leave my things covered. It's summertime, all kind of stuff comes in from the back door. My back door is right by my kitchen, so we're gonna cover it up just to make sure. I'm not gonna seal it tight. I don't want this to start expanding too much right now. I'm just trying to make sure we get all the little icky stuff off. So I'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. We have relocated and now I'm on the island so you can get a better view. The sea moss has soaked for 15 minutes. It hasn't really swelled a whole lot, but it is a little slimy on it. You can feel it just a little bit on the outside. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a lot of little black, there's a lot of little like residue. Do you see that? How that is on there? So little things that you can see that need to be rinsed off. So he suggests on the bag rinsing it twice. I might do it 3 times, so I'm gonna go through that process now. And this is where your strainer comes in. I'm actually going to strain this water out, put some fresh water in from the container. I'm using the spring water, and then I'm going to start soaking it and rinsing it again. I'm going to do all that by hand. Let me go ahead and rinse this out twice and I'll be right back. And I may do it a 3rd time depending on how much I see still within the sea moss. Okay, be right back. So now I've strained it. This is what I have. There's still some little questionable items in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a rinse again, adding more water. Soaked it again, but only did it for about 5 minutes before I did my final rinse. And then I rinsed and drained, and now we have our product ready for its final soak. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little lime in all of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my lime. I believe I'm only gonna use like half of one. I already rolled it, so it's a little bit loose. I'm gonna juice it into here. I'm using half a lime, which gave me about this much juice, and I think that should be sufficient for what they're saying it's for. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead, once again you're gonna add just enough water to almost cover all of the sea moss in the bowl. So we're gonna add, I'm too OCD for this, okay, and then I'm gonna add in my lime juice. And my hands are clean, guys. I'm gonna mix that in. And again, that lime juice is gonna neutralize any extra fish smell and also further clean the sea moss while it soaks up in the final step of this process. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cover it. You're gonna leave this covered. I see varying times. I see anywhere from 12 to 24, and I even saw one that said 3 days. We're gonna do 24 hours. You can do this at room temperature, so there is no need to do it in the fridge. So I'm just gonna set it on the counter over here out of the way, away from the children, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so that's it. Pretty simple. I had my little hiccups along the way, but again, I'm a newbie. Don't act like y'all don't mess up or misread. It's gonna be okay. So anyway, I have my final bowl for soaking. So it's gonna go in the corner and sit for 24 hours. Until then guys, y'all have a good night, because it's like 9:45 at night right now and I'm tired. So I'm gonna clean up, get myself ready for bed, and I will see you again tomorrow when we're ready to see how our sea moss is looking after a good 24 hours soak. All right guys, good night. Hey guys, so we are back. It's been a little bit over 24 hours, but that's okay. Some people soak it for 2 to 3 days. We're still good. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you in a little bit closer so you can see the process of me removing the sea moss from the water. You can see the consistency, and I'll show you the next steps to get it blended and packaged up, ready to go in the refrigerator. All right, come on, let's go. Okay, so as you can see, we have our sea moss gel. I put an extra layer of saran wrap under the lid just to make sure it had a nice good seal. Oh yes, and my hands are clean. I can tell already from feeling it, the seaweed is now nice and saturated with the water. It has a nice jelly-like feel to it, kind of a bouncy feel. I don't know how you explain that, but I'm gonna go ahead and separate this and move it over to another bowl. I'm not draining it because I actually want to keep this water, and I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, so now we have our water in our bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and cover this back, And now we're gonna start the blending process. Actually, before I blend, I'm gonna go ahead and take the extra step that some people recommend of cutting the sea moss up just to reduce the strain on the blender. Now I have a Ninja. I don't think it's gonna be that bad of a strain, but I just wanna do this step so you guys can see it. I'll do it to a couple of them. And basically it's just saying to chop it up into smaller sections, I guess, so it doesn't wind around the blade and again burn out the motor on your blender. If you're concerned about that, then definitely take this extra step. If not, then I wouldn't worry about it. There, you would add your pieces in. Oh my gosh. I'm making a mess. So I'm not that concerned about that, so I just wanted to show you that step. I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in. I actually made way more than I anticipated. Let's go ahead and stop here. I saved my water. Some people recommend that you use more of your filtered water, but then I also see a lot of people say that there's a lot of nutrients in the water that you soaked it in, which makes sense. So I'm gonna save this water. I'm gonna use some of it to put back into the blender, because you do have to add a little bit back when you do the blending process. So I'm gonna use some of it in the blender, and I'll also use some of my spring water because I wanna save the sea moss water for other purposes. I believe you could do this to your desired consistency, or as thin as you would like it, but keep in mind that it does thicken a little bit once it goes into the refrigerator. Just to see what we're working with. This is a very like applesauce like texture, so I'm gonna blend it a little bit more. Now mine is still pretty thick, so I might want to add a little more water. As you can see, I already have kind of a jelly consistency. Maybe that's because I didn't use so much water. So depending on how thick you want yours, I'm sure you could add more. But I'm gonna go ahead and transfer these over to the containers, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I was actually able to get 3 regular size mason jar containers full of sea moss gel from 2 ounces of dry sea moss. So that was way more than I expected. I thought maybe 2, and these are all 3 to the brim with a little bit left at the bottom. But I'm gonna find something to store it in so that I'm not wasting any product, because this stuff is golden and I don't want to waste anything. So actually I haven't tasted it yet. Let's see what we're working with here to see. Now, I'm most likely gonna mix this when I do take it daily, but I just wanna see. Y'all, it literally doesn't taste like anything. It's like, I don't know, a real strong version of spring water flavor, like that mineral type of flavor. It tastes like nothing. So yeah guys, that's it. This is all that I got from that. Now the water that I have left over from where I soaked my sea moss, I'm gonna save that because I see where people use this for spray for hair. They make facial cleansers, facial masks from it. I mean, it's golden as well. So I'm gonna save this and maybe think of some ways that I can use this in my skincare routine and give y'all a report back on that. None of this is going to go to waste. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. But we are both learning together. This is my very first time, but I will try my best to answer any questions you may have. There'll be more videos coming. So I will be trying this for a set amount of days and then giving you a report back on what I noticed, or if I noticed any changes, and some of the background on sea moss gel. But that was it. I hope y'all, oh, sorry. This can be stored in the fridge for up to a month. You can even freeze them in an ice cube tray, and I hear then it lasts for maybe 6 to 12 months. So I have to check on that time frame, but definitely in the fridge 30 days. You cannot leave this out on the countertop because it is fresh and it has no preservatives in it. Obviously, if you're making it yourself, it will go bad. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed me stumbling through this for the first time. It was very simple, but the first time you do things you're not used to, it, you just kind of keep having to go back and forth with instructions. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. More content on the way. Thank you so much for joining me, and you all have a blessed day.